L'annonce qu'on fait aujourd'hui va faire
Today's announcement
beaucoup d'heureux.
will
La
make many
trajectoire
people
de notre
happy.
économie est dans la bonne
The
direction.
trajectory of our economy is going in the right
diminuer. On est en train de voir les taux d'intérêt
sense.
diminuer.
Interest is
On a une bonne
dropping.
croissance économique prévue pour 2025.
Inflation is dropping. There's good economic growth for 2025.
Mais en même temps,
So we're doing well with the economy, but at the same time, people need help. And to this, we're coming forth with several measures to relieve pressure on their bank account, whether it's dental care to help seniors and others, or daycare spots at $10 a day across the country, and thousands of dollars of pressure on families, either through the program for school lunches. That relieves pressure on parents, and other initiatives like insulin or free prescription contraceptives. We're doing a lot of things to relieve pressure on families, but we know we want to do even more.
We're delivering, whether it's dental care, whether it's pharmacare with free insulin or free prescription contraceptives, whether it's more spaces and $10 a day child care that is saving families thousands of dollars, whether it's dental care that's taken huge pressures off of primarily seniors' budgets, but also others. These are things that are making a difference. But at the same time, Canadians are still struggling to get by. These elements have taken off pressures, but there is more to do. As the holidays approach, families, especially parents, are particularly worried. Canadians have been through a lot. They work hard. We see that. We've been able to get through the past couple of years. Everyone had to tighten their belts a little bit. And now we're going to be able to give a tax break for all Canadians. For 2 months, starting December 14th, we're going to remove the GST, HST from groceries, 100% of groceries, all groceries. We're going to remove the GST from restaurant meals, takeouts, fast food. Removing the GST from beer and wine. Removing the GST for essentials like kids' clothing, footwear, diapers, and toys. All tax-free. Removing the GST and HST. For 2 months, Canadians are going to get a real break on everything they do. We also know that there's more we need to do, particularly for working Canadians. So if you worked in 2023 and earned up to $150,000, we're going to be sending you a check for $250 in just a few months. Our government can't set prices at checkout, but we can put more money in people's pockets. The Working Canadians rebate of $250, which will be sent to people in April, is going to give people that relief they need. And the tax break over the next 2 months is going to help on the costs of everything as we approach the holidays, as we get into the new year. These are things that recognize that people are squeezed, and we're there to help. Money that will help people buy the things they need and save up for the things they want. And the final comment is that I really hope that all parties in the House get behind this so we can pass this quickly so that Canadians can get this relief as soon as December 14th. Merci beaucoup tout le monde d'être ici.
Thank you everyone for being here.
Questions in a moment, but for now, I'm going to pass it over to someone who's been working very hard to deliver this support for Canadians, Chrystia Freeland, our Finance Minister. Chrystia.
Thanks, Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is a little bit taller than I am. Okay, well, I want to start by saying, buongiorno Giancarlo, grazie mille per l'accoglio. It is really wonderful to be here at Vince's, which is a local institution, a place that is trusted and I'm going to say beloved by families in this community. Ça me fait plaisir d'être ici.
I'm happy to be here.
Au cœur
at the heart of this community that's so important, so close, to make announcements that will truly help Canadians, Canadians of the middle class, with an issue that bothers them, the issue of
Before
affordability.
coming out to make our announcement, the Prime Minister, Tony, Francesco, and I had a chance to talk to Giancarlo. Tony and Francesco know him well and know Vince's very well. And it was such a valuable window into the life of this community and also into the lives of Canadians. And what Giancarlo told us, you can see what has been happening in the Canadian economy at the checkout counter here at Vince's. He talked about how things were really hard for Canadians at the beginning of this year, that, inflation was coming down, but interest rates were still high. And that was really biting in the pocketbook. And he saw it with what people were able to afford to buy here. One thing that Giancarlo told us that I really loved is he said he could almost measure the trajectory of interest rates by what people were doing at the cash register here. And as rates have come down, people have been coming back into Vince's and have been able to spend a little bit more. So that story from Giancarlo makes him my favorite person of the day. Grazie mille. That's exactly what we know Canadians need. Canadians needed that relief. And the good news is, now that inflation is under control, it has been within the Bank of Canada's target range for 10 months in a row. That has allowed the bank to bring down rates, and that has created the space for us to provide a little more relief for hard-working Canadians. And so today we're announcing two really important forms of support. The first you're going to see at the cash register here at Vince's and at grocery stores, at restaurants, at toy stores across the country. This is going to be about giving just a little bit of extra help to families over the holidays from the middle of December to the middle of February. We are going to have a GST holiday on all prepared foods. So right now, some foods are not subject to GST, but prepared foods are. Things like a rotisserie chicken. Things like, if you have had a really busy day and you have to feed your kids at the end of the day, maybe you're tempted to go to the grocery store and pick up a prepared meal, but it's expensive. And on top of the extra cost of a prepared meal, you have to pay the GST. And Giancarlo has been telling us, he sees young working families wanting to buy those prepared meals, but sometimes they can't quite afford it. Lifting the GST is going to make it that little bit easier. And it comes just in time for the holidays, when people are going to want to be entertaining, are going to want to have people over. So prepared foods, lifting the GST. Restaurant meals, lifting the GST. That's going to include beer and wine, no GST. And Giancarlo does sell beer and wine here. So you're going to be able to do that at your grocery stores, your gas stations, where beer and wine are available. And it's the holidays. So we're also lifting the GST on a carefully chosen basket of holiday gifts. Kids' clothes, diapers, car seats, kids' shoes. It includes things like like toques, like mitts for your kids, scarves. Also on toys for your kids. Also on books and periodicals. So this is really about saying to Canadians, things have been hard. They are getting better. Our economy really looks like it is having a soft landing from the COVID recession. And this is about making life a little bit easier because we have the space now to do it. Le deuxième annonce, c'est pour aider directement les Canadiens.
Directly, help Canadians directly. Workers everywhere in the country. And that will be the support they will receive, like the Prime Minister said. We will send $250 checks to each Canadian who worked in 2023 and earned $150,000 or less.
This is about, these checks for $250 are about recognizing that working Canadians have been through some tough times. And this is about providing direct support to the people who have been working hard to get us through some tough times, and the people who we are counting on to power Canada's economic recovery. I do want to offer one piece of practical advice. We want to know if you were working in 2023. So please, if you haven't filed a tax return, file your tax return by December 31st. That will make it possible for us to send you that check for $250. It's going to be paid on an individual basis to everyone who worked in 2023 and made $150,000 or less. So support for working people, the people who have really gotten our country through a tough time and who we're counting on to really power a very strong recovery at the end of this year and next year. Merci beaucoup pour votre temps.
Thank you very much for your time. And we're ready for your questions.
We'll now begin the question period.